Right, this video relates to column subtraction with decimals. Now the success criteria for this is three things. First of all, line up the units like it has with column addition without decimals and column subtraction without decimals. It needs to be done with column subtraction with decimals. Very, very, very important. Also, you need to put zeros in the gaps. And finally, if the top number is smaller, then you have to borrow, like it was before. So, line up the units, zeros in the gaps, and then if the top number is smaller, then you have to borrow. Okay? Let's have a little go at a couple of these. First of all, 46.3, take away 18. So first thing we're going to do is line up the units. So write down 46.3, and then we've got our units column here. Now we need to line up the units. So the units in the 18 is the 8. So the 8 has to go below, and then everything else goes around it. So we've got it lined up, however we'll have a little gap here, so I'm going to put a 0 in the gap. So units are lined up, zeros in the gaps, and now we need to subtract. So 3 take away 2 is, 3 take away 0 is 3. Then decimal point. Now 6 take away 8, the top is smaller, so we need to borrow. So the 4 becomes a 3, lends 1 to the 6, or a 10 to the 6, so it's a 16. So 16 take away 8 is 8, and 3 take away 1 is 2. So our answer is 28.3. Let's try another one. So we've got 192 take away 37.2. So first things first, line up the units. So I've got my units column here. The units in the 37.2 is the 7, so the 7 must go below there. Everything else goes around it. Now I've got a couple of gaps here, so I'm going to put a 0 in the gaps to make sure it's correct. Now 0 take away 2, 0 is smaller than 2, so we must borrow, so it becomes a 1, and now that's a 10. So 10 take away 2 is 8. Now 1 take away 7 you cannot do because it's smaller, so we must borrow, and now it's 11 take away 7, which gives us 4. Then we've got 8 take away 3, which gives me 5. 1 take away 0, which is 1. Put the decimal point in. We got 154.8. Now, one for you to try. So, I'm going to go through it in about 3 seconds. So if you want to pause and have a go. So 3, 2, 1. Right. So, first thing, line up the units. So I've got 305.6. Got my units here. The units in this number is the 6, so it must go below the 5. So then everything else fits around it. Now second thing, put zeros in the gaps. So I've got a gap here and a gap here. And then let's work it out. So 0 take away 4, I cannot do because 0 is smaller than 4. So borrow from the 5. So 10 take away 4 gives me 6. 5 take away 9. Again, it's smaller, so I have to borrow. So he becomes a 4, and he's a 15. So now we've got 15, take away 9 is 6. Now we've got 4, take away 6, we cannot do. So he looks to his friend to borrow, he cannot borrow from him. So this guy looks to his friend beside him, and he can't borrow from him. So he says, yes, I can lend you 1, so he becomes a 2, but it must get past the next one along. So now he's a 10, and he looks to his friend, he says, yes, now I can lend you 1. So he's a 10 and he turns into 1, take away 1 and he turns into a 9 and lends it to him. So now it's a 14, take away 6, which gives me 8, and then a 9, take away 1, which gives me 8, and then finally 2, take away 0, which is a 2. So my answer is 288.66. So line up the units, zeros in the gaps, top smaller in the bottom, and borrow.